Welcome to the Founders Table. Today we are talking about the middle of the funnel. If you don't know what that is, you need to pay attention.
Welcome back to the 3-4 part series, something like that. We're kind of in the middle of it, hence the middle of the funnel. And I think this is where business really, truly, you've got the top of it where you're just really prospecting, trying to get people. This is where the rubber meets the road for business owners. And I think it's where the good ones succeed and the bad ones really fail. And I think this is where a lot of people can do better. And, this really adds money to the bottom line, which is why we're all here.
Yeah. So we've been having conversations with business owners and founders for a while. And this is when we look back at the whole premise of what we're doing. A lot of it has to do with scaling, building from the ground up, understanding where your business is, where your blind spots are. Mm-hmm. And when you talk through the last few weeks about how as a business owner, you're the salesperson. At the end of the day, as the business owner, your job is to get business. And we talked a lot about top of funnel, about getting people into your ecosystem, getting people into your systems and understanding that there's avenues in order for you to do, in order for your systems to do, your team to do, to get people there. Now we're going to talk about, once they're to the top of funnel, how do we start filtering them down and get them in this middle funnel, what that means, and how we can do that well. Because I think it is one of the biggest blind spots for most business leaders.
Yeah, I think what happens is, and I think if you're watching this, you're going to say, yep, that's where I'm at, is you go meet people, you go to an event, a B&I group, whatever that is, and you have those conversations, and you just assume, well, I'm a realtor and I met with people and I had my realtor pin on. They know I'm a realtor. Or I was at this event and I've seen my kids' friends at a ball game and they know I'm a plumber. My truck says Bob's Plumbing on the side. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that they know who you are and they know what you are and they have you've never provided them value or anything to actually take that step to start coming down to have a client out of the situation. And I think a lot of people assume this. I watch it with our agents. I watch it with other business owners. I watch it with people that go, well, I'm out and about and I do these things and I just don't know why I don't get business. Well, some people don't just say it right, and that you got to craft this part of the funnel process is. Some people naturally say it well. You, Stefan Bunch, you say stuff really well for people to know that you're a realtor and you intertwine that in conversations. And I don't think you consciously do it. I think it's subconsciously doing it. But how you speak and how you communicate about what you do, it comes off that way where people are like, wow, he knows what he's doing or he has a passion for whatever that is, whether it's real estate or whether it's whatever business that you're in. And I think some people just naturally say that, but I think some people need to focus on how they say what they're doing and what things along those lines, because I don't think not everybody's equal on how they say that type of stuff.
You're totally right. And when we talk through top of funnel of getting people in, the way I kind of envision it is, when you're in the dating scene, how about this?
Oh boy, dating advice from Stefan Bunch. Yes, I love this.
I'm not great at it, but you get people into your system. You're out there. You're getting yourself out there.
Yeah.
You find somebody. Middle of funnel is really that dating and understanding, like you're growing a relationship together.
Yep.
And then to close, you're going to get the marriage, right? You're going to get down on a knee. So, in my opinion, this middle of the funnel thing is more about gaining trust and understanding. You've already kind of gotten yourself out there. You've wrapped the car. You've gotten signage. You've done the campaigns. You've gotten people to see you. Now, how do you get them from where they see you to now where they understand what you do? So you got to be clear.
Yep.
And then understand that they can trust you, that you have their best interest.
My biggest thing that I coach people on is come alongside people, help. You know what I mean? And I think that's the middle funnel to me, in essence, is coming alongside people. Oh, we've had a conversation. You've seen a wrap. You've seen this. You've seen that. A wrap vehicle is not going to get you a sale more than likely, but it's going to put eyeballs on it. Wow, that guy's a professional. He has a really nice looking rig or whatever that is. The next step is, well, then you get to meet this person, be it through a lot of different channels. Mm-hmm. But if you can find out that, okay, this person is identified as a customer for my business or potential customer for my business, that come alongside part to me is, I may not be able to help you, Stefan, one way or another, but if I can, even if I can't, I'm going to find somebody that can, and we'll figure out what the solution is for your situation that you're going through. Well, then now you're providing value for somebody and you're having that conversation. And now they're looking at you not as a salesperson or not as a whatever this is. it's a conversation piece that you can actually help impact them in what they're doing and helping them. And everybody wants to work with people that they trust and that they know that they've got their best interest at heart. And I think coming across that way and positioning your words and positioning your actions and positioning how you speak and talk and follow through and communicate with people, I think that's where that middle funnel stuff really starts becoming good. And it's kind of, it might be anti-intuitive a little bit because you're thinking, well, I need to sell a house, or I need to sell this, or I need to get them to buy my widget, or whatever that is. No. Do they need your widget? Do they need to buy a house? Do they need to do a real estate transaction? Do they need to do a plumbing job? Do they need accounting services? Whatever that may be, you need to help come alongside them and be an expert in your field and help people walk the path that they're walking and see if you can serve them.
One of my favorite things about our industry, specifically in real estate, is that we have to rub shoulders with all kinds of industries, whether you're talking through contractors, attorneys, accountants, bankers. There's like within a real estate transaction, you have a lot of different types of people and industries that you're working with. And so for us, what we do at Elevate is we're not about trying to make somebody sell their home, but we want to be a resource to where if they are a homeowner, we love home ownership. We believe that's the best way to build wealth for you and your family. If you're a homeowner and you're like thinking, I need my windows taken care of, or I have this leak, that's where I love being the connector of being like, we've seen a lot of contractors. We've seen good ones and bad ones. And so we've learned so you don't have to learn. So we've seen the mistakes so you don't have to. So where we can get you connected with the right people. And I think that's that middle ground of saying, or the middle funnel of just being like, hey, we're here as a resource. And over time, if we connect them enough and something happens in their life and they need to make a move, and it's not us forcing the move, but it's like, hey, we've been here this whole time. We're top of mind, but we're also proving to you over and over again that at the end of the day, whether a sell is involved or not, we truly want what's best for you because we believe in the bigger picture. We believe in home ownership, and anything we can do to promote that is a huge win for us.
Part of being a connector and doing that, like to apply that, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to like apply it in the real business world. And I think what I look at is we do top of funnel, right? Let's start there. So we mentioned vehicle wraps, you've got ads, you've got billboards, you've
co-branding,
got co-branding, you got all the things, the
networking
sign
groups
on a baseball field, like the stuff, right? Like all that stuff. And again, some people get confused and they think if I spend this money on this top of funnel, it's going to instantly relate to us. That doesn't happen, right? Like it's not measurable, it's not trackable for the most part. So I look at like how we've built our businesses, and like when we're talking about coming alongside and doing things like that, we build our content. We've gone heavy on the media content side to provide value. I think real estate agents, they know how to get clicks. You could do a funny dance, you could do a this, you could do a that in the real estate world. But like, what value are you truly providing a homeowner buying or selling the biggest asset in their life, right? Like not very much when you're making a silly video. So I think when you look at what our strategy is that middle of the funnel stuff, we're trying to provide as much value as you can, because maybe they did see the billboard and the wrap and the thing and the this and the that, but then they Google us. Well, when you Google us or your business, what do you see, right? And if all it is ads
saying, use me,
everybody says use me, right? But if it's your business and you give 5 key, first thing that pops up is a video, 5 pieces of advice to make my life easier, and I click on it, well, now you're providing value. So that's where I think middle of funnel for us, we spent a lot of money with our videographers, we videotape all our team members, we do all the things. But the goal of that is truly to provide value for our customers, where they can type in Elevate Real Estate Group and they can learn. It doesn't matter what city you live in, where you live, there's good content information for whatever part of the real estate process you're in is literally all over the place.
Building guides, talking through home maintenance.
How many free guides do we have that we give to people? We have a funny one that I really enjoyed is we have a for sale by owner one. What real estate agent in their right mind would teach you how to sell your home on your own, right? And we've got a whole packet on that. And it's like a 25-page packet?
Now, through every single step.
Through every step. And the thought on our end on the backside, you're going, well, what the heck does that have to do with anything? Well, what it has to do with is, okay, if you want to be cheap and you think that a real estate agent doesn't do anything and really it doesn't matter and I can save 3% and 3% is worth more than the value that somebody can add, well, here's a list of the value that Elevate Real Estate adds, and it's 26 pages of value. If you're sitting there going through that with your spouse and you're reading that, our goal is at the end of it, you're going to go, I don't want to do all that,
and you'll realize, man, I don't have the connections that they have. I don't work with the groups that they're working through. There's an added value, and you can see it clearly.
And you can see clearly what we've done. Now, if you want to go step by step and do them all yourself, great. But what's your time? What's the amount of time you're going to do what we would do versus if you just had somebody else do it? Probably you make more money doing your job and let us do our job, and we'll all work together and find you the perfect solution. So point being is, it doesn't matter if you're a CPA or a plumber or whatever it is. You got to figure out how to be in that middle ground. And I think that's what curates a lot of your leads, and that's what spins them down into actual buyers. And what you will find, and I don't want to give too much away on the bottom of funnel, but what you will find is better middle of funnel that you are, easier the sell is or easier the close is. You don't have to close them. They already trust you. They already know you. They've watched your stuff. They've seen you. They've heard referrals from you. They've been, all those different things that all starts coming together. And one thing on middle of funnel, Google your business. If you're worried about, if you go, maybe my middle of funnel is not very good, whatever that looks like, Google your business, search your business on Facebook, search your business on the internet, type it into ChatGPT, see what pops up. When you start seeing that, that's what customers are seeing. And I think if it's I could sell you this or I could do this, maybe that's why. So what can you do to provide value to customers, to curate customers that want to do business with you based off what they've seen?
Yeah, we talked at top of funnel. We talked a lot about some of the systems that we have and some of the platforms that we try to get our agents into. Systems for middle of funnel is even more essential than they are for top of funnel. Because one thing that it's difficult with any business, because you're working to gain clients and then you're working to close business, and the follow-up and all the process in between of the nurturing is something that can be missed easily, because it doesn't seem like it's the urgent thing to do. You're either looking to gain clients or you're looking to gain a paycheck. There's balance of what you can put effort toward. So talk a little bit about some of the systems that we can have and businesses can have.
The beauty of middle of funnel stuff, when I say go Google your business and look and see what you got, the cool part about that is if you build it right, you don't have to always build it forever. And with Elevate Real Estate Group, we did a whole lot of certain types of videos. We went after first-time home buyers and then downsizing. And then if you're a growing family, and, we made specific content for that. Different cities, different locations, things along those lines. So we created evergreen content. And if you are strategic about the content that you create, when you do this, it doesn't have to be a huge time suck, because at the end of the day, if you're coming along doing everything for free for people and helping them and connecting them and doing all the things, at some point you're going to go, I spend more time helping people than I actually do making money. I'm a firm believer that will pay dividends in the long run, but at the end of the day, I need clients, I need sales to pay the bills. So you obviously spend most of your time on the two there, but this middle kind of gets left out. I think organizing this and saying, look, in my world, these are the 10 questions people ask. How do you make a piece of content for all that? How do you write a blog for your website on all that? Like, that's where SEO comes in. How do you manage these different things? What's the messaging if you get people's databases to send email campaigns out, what are the emails messaging? Is it buy me, or is it here's 3 tips to help? And then the next month, here's 5 things to do. You know what I mean? And you're teaching.
I will say this. I know there's some businesses that don't even have a CRM system. And they've got billing systems that they might be able to track past clients, but really finding a funnel for new clients and people that you've worked with in the past or currently working with, that's something for us that we've truly built out to be independent for our business. And we're working with other businesses to do that as well. So if you're like, man, the middle funnel here which is CRM, is what it screams. Like, it's how do you manage your customers? How do you manage the people in your circles? It is impossible if you are constantly growing, gaining business and closing.
Well, how many times do you run into somebody at the store and be like, hey, I haven't seen you in 6 months. And you're like, dang, man, that guy is he'd be an awesome customer.
Yeah.
And it could be as simple as your iPhone. I mean, you could
Go through your contacts.
I mean, you could go through your contacts and say, I need to call them in 3 months. I need to call them in 2 months. I need to call them in 2 weeks. I need to, whatever that is, and set reminders and things like that. But there's so many tools out there that aren't. And a CRM's not mega expensive. So there's people that think like, oh my gosh, I got to spend $4,000 a month on Follow-Up Boss or whatever it is, something that's real expensive, or Salesforce, stuff like that. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg to get really good management. And then, and you could do it on a spreadsheet. I mean, there's a million ways to do it, but I think, yes, that's one of the, as you develop your business and do that, and you want to scale your business, if you're a small business, my father-in-law, he wants to have a small, he does home. What do you want to call it?
Contractor.
Yeah, contracting, remodels. Just does remodels, does like if we have people that need work done, handyman services, stuff items, like that. Yeah. He didn't want to be a big business. And if that's your case, that's fine. But you're probably not watching this conversation. So if you want to grow and you want to really scale, you gotta focus your attention on places that you can actually scale. And you can't, if you're the salesman, the middle of the funnel, and the closer, and the laborer, and the accountant, and the HR person, and the attorney, and the you don't have time, marketing director, you don't have time, and it's not going to happen. And you've got to learn A, to delegate, and B, how do I do stuff really efficiently? And we're in the easiest time with AI and everything that goes on to like really help set a lot of this stuff up.
And here's the thing, there's meaningful ways to use AI, there's meaningful ways to use systems in order to stay connected with people. We have a lot of automations and things that we do, but when we have that contact, when it brings up a conversation, we're able to dive right in. The AI kind of puts it, or the automations kind of put it on autopilot for us to make sure that we're as a baseline, we have things going. We're doing things above that, but we always want to cover our bases and make sure that there's no blind spots in between, nobody being falling through the cracks.
And one of the things we do, even if it's a SMS message or a text message or a phone call or an email, whatever that is, we built on our automations. We always have ways that like if somebody communicates back, it pulls a trigger so we can see it. Because we're in such a day and age that you can get anything you want instantly, right? It's instant gratification on everything. If you want to go buy a car, in 3 hours from now, you could be driving it. So communication is key with people. If you're in the middle of the funnel and somebody reaches out to like buy something or do something and you don't respond in a couple minutes, your odds of connecting with them go down to like 80%. They fall 80%. So you have to be ready to be able to make decisions and do stuff quickly. So it might sound hard and confusing in a lot of stuff, but that's where we try to blend AI and automations and real world looking at what we're doing. And there's kind of a balance. Is it going to feel a little AI or it looks automated or looks whatever? Sure. But how many times do you get a fit for me fishing or race car parts or motorcycle parts, whatever it is, duck hunting, this or that. And I know it's automated, but I don't care. I enjoy it, right?
Exactly.
So you may do that as a business and people D and like get out of it and opt out of it. But you can't control that. But what it does do is if it allows you to put yourself in front of people, then once they indicate that they're interested, then we, how I see it is then we jump in full force. How can we help you? So we're not spending all our time chasing stuff that may or may not exist. But then when somebody does indicate, then we're able to offer them the best possible service that we can as quickly as we can.
You're exactly right. And so that's one thing I think as a larger conversation, probably something we'll talk through eventually on some of our automations, what we do and how it can relate to really any industry, because it's all about communication. It's all about building trust, clarity, and understanding the next step in the process. And so,
and listening.
That's the big one. And so with that middle funnel, in my mind, our goals, which you can share on this too, but it's truly those things. It's an opportunity for them to see that they can trust us, that we're a reputable business, that we work with people, we do a good job, we serve people well. It's an opportunity for them to see that we communicate well, so that when we are in a transaction together, they know that we're gonna be
not
there with them.
Ghost them. Oh, you got my business, now you never talk to me again. He's off to the next one.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. And then honestly, listening to the problems that they have,
finding
and
solutions for the client,
and then giving a clear steps of here's the next step for you. I think that's what people often are missing. And it's something that we don't really push as much as we should probably.
Yeah.
For us, we build the guides. We want to make sure that they can see exactly the process. But if somebody is 2 years out from buying a home, then there's clear steps for them to be able to make sure that their credit's intact and make sure they're lendable whenever they get to that point. And so we want to make sure our messaging is, even for somebody that's further way out from a closing, that they can still walk with us and we can walk with them through that process along the way.
Yep. No, I 1,000% agree. I think we're starting to get into next week's topic as kind of the bottom of the funnel and closing and actually getting business. But I think when you cross over that, I've listened to what you have, I've given some inputs, learning how people take that advice. I know with me, I don't want to have clients that I work with that aren't going to, if I say, I think these are 3 things that are really good, and you go, oh, okay. And then you go over here and do something off the wall. That's not a great relationship, right? If you go show somebody a house and every time that it just be, I think we should do X, Y, Z, and then they do A, B, C, that might not be the best client for you, right? So you got to have that trust between the 2 people in the communication. Yeah. But once you kind of have that trust and you see that you guys are communicating back and forth and you guys are listening to each other, things along those lines, then it can kind of move to that next step of what happens. And I think a lot of times people, you become a friend or we have a really good relationship and you don't want to tell them something they don't want to hear or something along those lines. And I think that's a missed opportunity to me is you have to tell, to me, it always comes back to the truth. Always start with the truth, even if that's not what they want to hear. But taking it to the next step, that's kind of a hard thing because everybody kind of feels in their gut oh, am I being salesy if I ask them to sell their house, even though we've talked about it at church or at whatever it is. I don't want to be the sleazy sales guy doing that. So it's how do you craftfully do that? And again, that's going to be a lot more of next week's topic, but I think that's the big step right there. When you come out of the middle of the funnel and start moving it down there, I think that's a challenge for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So if you were listening and you've been doing a good job of getting people into the funnel, into your CRM, getting contacts, getting people to see you, and now you're man, this is the part where it's we've got people in the funnel, but we got to work them to close. We got to nurture these people, make sure they trust us. We would love to hear some of your things that you're doing in order to nurture your clients. Make sure that your middle funnel is communicating well and building trust. If you have any great ideas, we'd love to hear it. And also, if you have any questions for us on how we do it with CRMs or communications, reach out to us. We'd love to share our processes and systems in that as well.
All right. Well, great. We appreciate it. We will see you guys soon for the bottom of funnel conversation. If you guys need anything, shoot us a message, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We'll see you guys next week.